Hello everyone, my name is Ananya Rajput, a law intern at LEXIS and Company. So today I'll be going to talk about effect of minority on the agreement. Now from section 11 of the Indian Contract Act 1872, it becomes clear that a person who will be competent to contract if he has attained the age of majority. According to Section 3 of the Indian Majority Act 1875, a person shall be deemed to have attained his majority when he completes the age of 18 years. But if a person or property or both the minor guardian has been appointed by a court, he will be deemed to have attained his majority when he completes the age of 21 years. However, it is to be noted that Indian Majority Act has been amended in the year 2000. By this amendment, the age of majority has been made uniform age of majority, which is 18 years. Now from section 10 and section 11 of Indian Contract Act, it is clear that the person who by reason of infancy is incompetent to contract, he cannot make a contract within the meaning of the Indian Contract Act. Consequently, a minor's agreement is void ab initio and cannot be enforced by either of the party to the contract. Now, there was a case Mohuri Bibi versus Damodar Ghosh 1903. In this, the plaintiff A, while he was minor, mortgaged his property in favor of the defendant B, who was a money lender, to secure a loan of rupees 20,000. Now, the actual amount of loan was given was less than rupees 20,000. At the time of the transaction, the attorney who acted on behalf of the money lender had the knowledge that the plaintiff is a minor. Now, the plaintiff brought an action against the defendant stating that he was a minor when mortgage was executed by him, and therefore the mortgage was void and inoperative and the same should be cancelled. Now, by the time of appeal to Privy Council, the defendant B, he died and the appeal was prosecuted by his executors. Now, the defendant, among other points, contended that the plaintiff had fraudulently misrepresented his age and therefore no relief should be given to him. Now, the court held that unless the parties have competence under Section 10, no agreement is a contract. There are certain exceptions of minor's agreement, which is restitution of benefits. Now, in English law, when the minor makes a false representation as to his age and induces other parties to make a contract with him, the minor can be compelled to return the benefit of property received under the contract only when it is identifiable and still in minor's possession. While in Indian law, the minor agreement is void ab initio and therefore cannot be enforced by either party, even when minor falsely represents to be measured and induces other parties to make a contract with him. Now, there was a case Khangul versus Lakha Singh. In this case, the Lahore High Court was held that the power to give equitable relief was more extensive in India than in England and ordered monetary compensation in a case where the minor had misrepresented his age. In the case of Ajudhiya Prasad versus Chandan Lal, now in this case it was held that the mortgage was not entitled to a mortgage decree, nor was he entitled to a decree for the principal money under any equitable principle other than those recognized in England. Then the next exception is no estoppel against a minor. Now, Section 115 of Indian Evidence Act 1872 lays down the law of estoppel, but the Indian Contract Act make it clear that a minor is incompetent to contract. Thus, a minor cannot incur liability under any contract, and the rule of evidence cannot be invoked to defeat this section. Then there was a case Gadi Geppa Bhimappa Meti versus Balangoda Bhimgoda. Now, in this case, the Bombay High Court had observed that there can be no estoppel against an act of parliament or against an act of the legislature, and the principle of estoppel cannot be invoked against the plain provision of the statute. Next is ratification of minor's agreement. Now, an agreement with a minor is void, and therefore it cannot be ratified by the after attaining the age of majority, and the consideration given to the minor during minority cannot be a valid consideration for a promise made by him after attaining the majority. Now, from the above discussions, it is very clear that an agreement with a minor is void ab initio in India. A minor is generally liable in tort, but he cannot be held liable for in truth, a breach of contract by framing an action el delicto. In a very famous case, Manmatha Kumar Saha versus Exchange Loan Corporation, it was held that you cannot convert a contract into a tort to enable the sue minor. Thank you.